Hello friends! We just got back from a little hike and we were reflecting on that hike. That when one goes for a hike, you can go for a walk in the woods or you can go for a walk in your mind. We're going for a hike or a think-a-thon.
A think-a-thon, that's great. But it is like that sometimes. And how often, maybe you can relate, have you gone for a walk or done an activity that you were very excited about, only to realize a certain amount of time later that you don't really remember passing your favorite rock that you almost always stop to look at? Or, you know, those things where all of a sudden you realize, I was on autopilot doing something in my head.
Funnily enough, I was doing a lot of thinking on this hike about this video, in fact, and it was a great lesson for me because I came up with some useful things I think that we'll share here, but at the same time I could just have easily done this little trick, which is to say, thinking mind, I know you've got something here that you think is really bright and important to think about, and we will think about that as soon as we get done with the hike, and we'll devote 10 minutes to that thinking time. But instead, I spent a lot of the hike lost in thought about this video.
Missing the actual hike.
Yes.
And it is quite beautiful right now. All of the snow is falling from the trees in these beautiful bursts of like pixie dust.
This is something we're going to be asking the forest monks to do this year, is to every day go for a Shinrin-yoku hike, to go for a walk in the woods that is in one's senses, so that we're actually experiencing this world that we're in. And I felt like I could kind of pinpoint where my mind was going, and there are just a few different things that it really likes to do. The mind likes to think about future and past.
Oh my gosh, yes. I am so guilty of that. Thinking about, oh my gosh, that conversation that I had with my friend about that topic that was kind of on, did she take that the wrong way? Maybe I should write to her and say, how I want to clear this up. And or maybe she didn't and maybe everything's okay. Or maybe she meant this, right? We get way absorbed into that past or the future. Oh, tomorrow this event's going to go on. Do I have enough food to feed everybody? I mean, you guys just fill in the blanks. I'm sure that you are aware of what we're talking about.
Oh yeah. It'll spiral you into feelings of anxiety or depression or all kinds of those resistance-based feelings when we're just going for a hike.
Yeah,
and we could be appreciating the
Well, presumably we're going for the walk to kind of clear the air, right?
So the other thing the mind likes to do is set up expectations or divide the world into good or bad. When we go with little ones on a hike, it's easy to think, I'm going to go for this nice hike. It's going to be quiet. I'm going to listen to the... Could you interject some kid sounds at the top of your lungs, please?
At the top?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like what
It's
do you
so
do when you're
quiet
playing
here.
outside?
Oh, it's so nice. Shout. Oh, yeah.
Do it, come on,
So nice and quiet. Listen to the chickadees.
Chickadees.
Oh, look, there's the butt of a deer running away.
Okay, that's good. Wow. Thank you very much. Well, we get that expectation of sort of the ideal form of what our activity should look like. I'm going to go play a soccer game. Our team is going to win. We have a definite idea. This is the best choice. And I like how you brought in bad versus good, because basically it's kind of the same thing. We have our ideas of what is right and good, and then if it doesn't match up to that, then it's bad or wrong.
The third place I noticed that the mind likes to go is into habits of perception. And again, this is something we work with forest monks quite a bit when they first come out here. Because as we're walking, we modern folks tend to stare at the ground in front of us. We're not very good at using our peripheral, and we're awfully worried about tripping. And so we stare at the ground in front of us and we miss the world around us. The same thing happens when we, for instance, walk a similar road every day. Yeah, it's probably off camera. when we travel a trail every day, we tend to look at the same landmarks, and pretty soon that trail or that road looks exactly the same every time we go down it. And we fail to see that if I put my vision in other places, I'm going to perceive an entirely different visual experience. Same thing with all my other senses. They like to follow kind of well-worn paths of perception, but if I can get them to stray out of that, then I'll notice, wow, that tree has a cool pattern in it. Look at that lichen. And well, today, of course, there's this ever-changing, shifting tapestry of falling snow, sparkling in the sun.
Well, I feel, from my opinion, my perspective, that's where you get novelty, which we all crave, is getting out of those normal methods of seeing things, and then things become new again. They're novel, they're different, and you can do that with the things you see every day.
It kind of brings up that the world is not capable of being boring. Boring is a filter, a certain colored lens that we put on our perception, and then we can no longer see the world, and then we decide that it's boring, even though the only place boring is going on is up here. You already hinted at this, and the important thing about this video is that this is not actually, of course, just about hikes. This is about every activity we engage in every moment of our lives. That can be eating a meal, it can be a conversation with somebody, it can be driving to work, it can be your day at the office. Whatever we're doing, we have the choice to be there in the experience, just sucking the marrow out of it, really immersing ourselves in what's happening. Or we can be having a think-a-thon in our heads. We're just dwelling in our minds.
So look for the warning signs. Are you dwelling on past and future? Are you worried or anxious? See what's going on there. Take a look. Notice. Are you going down looking at the same things the same way all the time?
You're setting the world up as good and bad around you.
Right. What are your expectations? Do you think, I know what's right, and if it doesn't happen, then it's wrong? Because if you can open up and say, I'm going to go for a walk, and I have no idea what it's going to look like, I wonder what would happen.
Wow. That is a great mantra for every moment of life. If we can be curious about what is going to unfold in this next moment, we approach life completely differently than if we do so with expectation, with judgment, with our mind lost off in thinking land.
So share with us what you do to get yourself to be present moment, to really be on the walk when you're on the walk. We'll use that as a metaphor. Give us some of your stories and what works for you, what you've noticed.
Love to you all. Thank you for being on this journey with us.